Hello and welcome to our ABAP Module Pool programming playlist, lesson number 2. In this video, we are going to explore online programming with an example. First of all, um, the participant of this video will have the knowledge after this video, and they will can easily create an online program. They will know what is object navigator and how to maintain the screen attribute, screen layout, field attribute, and flow logic, ABAP modules, and global data. They will also recognize a screen and the data transport between the screens, and in addition how to enlast. They will also know that how to execute an online program. First of all, we have an overview of the task. In this example, we will get input the total points and total games of a player, and how many points the player gets in how many games. So in this example, we will have the result into another screen, which will show the average points earned per game on the player after enter into the first screen. First of all, we have to create a web program in SE51, and in this program, the program name should must be start with SAP M, following by Y or Z program name, and the most important point is that SAPM is mandatory, whereas you have to name the program starting with a Y and Z. For online program, you will leave with top initial check. The system will automatically name this include program MZAAA top. In our example, include program will be named MY220 player AVG top. Top also added automatically added with the name. There here we must have to checkbox on while creating the program. The compulsory things, the required things for a screen program is that the program must have a title. The program type is module pool for online programming. This type module pool will automatically be defaulted for you if your program name begin with SAPM. Um, and the most needed, you should note that in SE38 we have also created other program with different type, but we are using the same transition code SE38 for creating the online program, but we must have to assign the program type as module pool. The program should be assigned a status. For example, we will assign test as a status. The program must be assigned to an application. For example, um, if it belongs to the sales module, so we have to give the sales type of this application. And right now we are going to assign the basis with this type. Unlike the purport program, you should not go into the source code of this main program. Instead, you should go back to the object navigator to create the components of the online program. The object navigator was previously known as the repository browser. Mean to say that when we give the name and all the things, we should not go into the source code of the program. We should only created the program and activated it just, while the other things will go into the in the object navigator screen. Now you can see we have our main program, which include my220 player avg top, and our top include my220 player avg top. In object navigator, when we go to the object navigator and double click on the program to see the program hierarchy of subject, from this hierarchy you can create all the components of the online program by double clicking on the program object type branch. In this initial stage, the creating of our online program, the only sub object that exists in the include program is our top include. We will define the global data for our online program in this top include. Right now, the only code in include in this program statement. I mean to say that right now, our program will only have the one execute statement, which is called include my220 player avg top. This statement is similar to the report statement that introduce report program. The program statement include online program. We do not want to edit the source code of our main program because this program will only contain include statements maintained by the system. Right now, the only code of our program, as I already said, the top and the average include my my220 player avg top. This statement points to the this statement points to the code in the top include program. Here are some general point about include program. The program type is include for include. This type of program cannot be executed by itself. Instead, it must be included in another program, for example, online report program with an include program statement. Now, what are the components of online program? The main components um, are screen and PBO module, PAI or subroutine event, and so on. So in online programs, Hercules in the object noder, double click on the program name. When we can explore the components of the program by double clicking the program name. Now, if we go into the detail, the online program hierarchy list, the object owner, you can double click on the program and go to the hierarchy. The first component we will create is a screen. Screen number above 9000 are reserved for customer development. Do not forget that each screen must be generated. If you make a change to any component of a screen, the screen must be regenerated. It's mean that for our first step for creating our online application is to create a screen. Creates the front end or creates the screen which will get input from the user. The 9000 are reserved for customer development. Always we will always create a screen number with 9000 and so on, 9001, 9002, like this. After entering the screen number, clicking on the create push button, you will take into the screen attribute section in the screen painter. For example, we will create two screen. In this example, we will create two screen 9000 and 9001. First we will create screen 9000. Now moving on, when we push the button create screen, this will reach into the screen painter, and here we have to assign the attributes of the screens. First of all, give the screen short description, and second one, the screen type can be one of three type. We have to give the screen type. There are three types of screen. Number one, normal. Number two, model dialog box. And number three, sub screen. The normal is used as a full screen that will contain a menu bar and both toolbar. Both I mean is standard and application. Both of the screen, for example, will be this type. We will create two screen, as I already said. Both of the screen will have type normal. Second type is model dialog box. This type is used for a size down window. Like if we want to pop up user for any task or any message, we will create a model dialog box screen. This will show the message and this will show the requirements of the application accordingly. Third type is called sub screen. It's mean that it's like a tab. It's like a tab. If we want to include or add some tab screen, we have to create a screens of type sub screen. The next screen attribute is not required but can be used to exactly determine the follow-up screen in the sequence. After the user click enter screen, when the user I want to clarify this, that when the system then the user press enter into our first screen, the uh, the system then looks to the next screen attribute to determine which screen is next. The next screen PBO, the process before output, will be executed immediately. Because we want our example program to loop from screen 9000 to 9001 and back to 9000. The next screen attribute for screen 9000 is 9001 and the next screen attribute for the screen 9001 is 9000. Other attribute can be specified in the screen attribute section. Moving on to our next step, we will have to create a screen layout. Screen layout have in our screen layout we have to give the three things: player average, total points, and total games. We will maintain the physical layout in the full screen editor of the screen painter. Some of the possible elements of a screen can contain include text field, input output template, radio button, checkbox, frame, and push buttons. For example, for our example, we will only need to use text field and input output templates. We will cover the other component in the next chapter. Text fields are created with the character string to link words into the text field. Use underscore between the words. In our example, we have the title player average without using an underscore between the two words. The title would become two screen fields with a separate field name. This separation does not make sense and it is harder to maintain. Therefore, we use the underscore to link these two words under one text field. Third one is input output templates are created with underscore. This means that input output field always created with the underscore. Like we are creating here the text field, two text field player underscore average, and for input output and total underscore games, total underscore points. These are the input. Now moving to our field attributes. Here we have the field name, title, points, games, and field format. Here we have to assign the format of the points as integer. Format of the game is integer one. Input and output checkbox is on for this type of for these fields. These all you will find these elements of the field attributes into the when we press into the element list button into the screen. right side of the screen printer. Now, moving on, the most important section of online programming is called flow logic. Here, the flow of complete program is maintained via two components: process before output and process after input. Mean to say, before showing the screen, the PBO process before output is executed, and PI process after input is executed after the user press enter or after the user do any action after giving the input to the screen. The only other flow logic command that we need for example is module. This command calls an ABAP module. ABAP modules contain the main processing logic of an online program. Mean to say that when process before output executed, the flow and the module into the process before output exists into the our main program, and when process after input executed, the module related to this exists into our main program, like module calculate is exists into our main ABAP program. In our example, ABAP module, to clear all fields before screen is displayed, we create a module called module initialize. It will clear all the fields of the screen. And in our process after input section, here we have created module calculate. This will calculate the uh, average points of the player based on the input given by the user. Now let's see to our ABAP modules which I have created in our main program. There are three includes created. First of all, top. Second is O01, and third is I01. O for output 01, and I for input 01. In our O01 A01 PBO modules, program initializes output and clear all the fields of the screen, like points, game, and average. And the include AVG I01, it have the module name calculate input. This this calculate the average points of the player based on the points in game of the fields of the screen. Global data. It is important that these program fields are named the same as the screen fields, so automatic data transport will occur between the screen work area and the program work area. It means that the screen fields name which have to transport data from screen area to the work area should have the same name, and it should be present in the global top include. Like in our example, here we have created data points type I, games type I, average type P, decimal 2. In our PBO module initializes, we are clearing out the program fields before screen 9000 is displayed. These program fields values are transported to the screen fields with the same name. As I already said, For this reason, the screen fields will be created out when screen 9000 is displayed. Moving on, screen to program data transport. It means that the data, how the data transport from screen to the program. when we when we give our inputs to the our screen input fields like total points in total games, when we press enter, this value move on our global top include fields, um, and from there it's from there uh, move to the global screen feed, and then the process after input executed, which will call the other module called module calculate. And after calculation, this module also move the values to our global top include field calls average. Ultimately, our program field average is transported to the identically named screen field and is displayed on the screen 9001. And even 9001 screen, it only have the other field in addition to the two field, which is named as average field, which will get the value from the top include. Now, lastly, how we can execute the program. Apart from our other ABAP program, this program can't be executed by F8 or program execute. We will have to create a transition code up to 20 characters length. We should it must be start with Y or Z. To make it easy to remember the transition code, you can use the last three characters of the online program name. For example, we will create transition code YAVG. For our online program, the transition type is dialog transition. You could create a transition code to execute a report program. This transition code would be a report transition type. When you create a dialog transition code, there are three required fields. Number one, the transition code must have transition text. You must specify the online program name to be executed. You must specify the screen number of the initial screen. When you execute the transition, this screen preview event will be executed immediately. In this command field, OK code, you can enter a /n T code to execute the online program in the current session, or a /0 T code to execute the program in a new session, just like other normal standard T code. To terminate the transition, you can enter a /n in the command field. Moving on, you should practice the same example by yourself. Create two screen, mm, and the first screen task takes the total points and the number of games as input, and then the screen average is output in the next screen. Just do by yourself, so then you can master of it, so then you can initialize your journey of online screen programming, and move on to the next step of online screen programming. In summarize, if we do summarize of all of learning, we will know that that the program, the main program name should be start with SAP M followed by Y or Z, uh, our program name. The program type is M for module pool. This type M will automatically be default for you if your program name begins with the SAP M. In the object navigator, you can double click on the online program name to see the program's hierarchy of sub-object components. From this hierarchy list, you can create all the components of the online program by double clicking on the program object types. For each screen you create, you must maintain a screen attribute in the screen painter. You maintain the physical layout of a screen in the full screen editor of a screen painter. Use the element list tab for the screen to name the screen fields. Moving on, the flow logic refers the code behind the screen and it is maintained in the screen painter. The PBO process before output and the PAI process after input modules contain the main processing logic of the online program and are called from within the flow logic of the screen with the module command. The global data of an online program is declared in the top include program. When the process after event is triggered, values are transported from the screen work area to the program fields with the same name before any process after input modules are executed. To execute an online program, you must create a transition code. You cannot use the F8 key or program slash execute menu part to execute the online program. Last but not least, thank you for watching this video and hope you gain some knowledge regarding online programming. Uh, Bye for now. Thank you.